Hey, the Australian Open might be done, but we're not done talking about it. We have some thoughts, and we have Myles from Tuning Into Tennis to help us out. So, get your cups ready because we're about to talk about the Australian Open 2026. Drop your head. Glad to have you back, Boo. We're glad to have you back. And, Australian Open is just like, man, you get out the holidays and this is like, bam, right there. Let's get into it. And my sleep pattern is not back to normal because these little 3 a.m. Matches fucking with my sleep pattern. And I'm a little upset every year. I forget every year. Then I get here. I'm like, damn, here we go. But
sometimes it's worth the 2-week investment. Sometimes it's like, oh, but either like wake up early or try to stay late,
Yeah. And I like it on the weekends because instead of going out to the club, I could be up until like 3 o'clock, drinking at home, watching my tennis.
Oh yeah, that's
having
the
a good time.
West
like
Coast
honestly, it's because it comes on like 11 p.m., 10 p.m. here.
Mm-hmm.
So so I can catch them and instead of going to the club with the young people ain't nothing outside for me. So let me just go ahead and
watch this one outside for me. TV. Come on, B.
It's all inside, baby, with some popcorn or some snacks or stuff. Yeah, tennis is it.
I'm going next year. I've told myself that I'm going to the Australian Open next year. It's going to happen. I will be there.
Do you know Tall Ryan from San Diego, like West Coast Ryan, LA Ryan? He was out there.
Oh, was he
really?
Partner
and his family and the kids, all of it. Yeah. I was like, damn, they've been out in Australia for like the last month. I'm like,
yeah. I actually just met him at Gay Ball. He's a little cute. I was like, okay. So, okay, Ryan.
Yep, there you go. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Ryan. What's up, boo? But community, again, if you don't know who Myles David is, Myles quickly informed them like where they could find you and things like that and where we know you from.
Well, you probably have seen me, hopefully, on the internet streets talking tennis. I stick out like a sore thumb. And I give my 2 cents on tennis across the internet at Tuned Into Tennis. Tennis just happens to be the sport that I am as passionate about as some people are about basketball and football and baseball and hockey even these days with a little heated rivalry. Tennis is my niche and I'll just be giving my commentary on it. I also write for a column. I'm a contributing writer at Serve on SI, Sports Illustrated. So, I write my opinions down. I come on video and tell them and try to aggregate and make conversation around tennis. So, yeah, that's me.
I know that's right. And I don't know who kitty cat in the background.
That's Bali. That's Bali.
It's Sheba.
What up, Sheba?
We met a little cat and made the mistake of feeding her, and now she comes by every day. From
Sheba don't know you're on a fast.
Baby, she don't know I'm on a podcast. How about that?
I know that's right. But all right, this is just going to be a mega Aunties Do You Give a Damn Australian Open style. So we're going to start right here. Aunties, do you give a damn about Venus's return to the 2026 Australian Open? Oh, damn, Myles, what was that face?
I'm just open to opinions.
I mean, well, I'm okay. If memory serves me correctly, because it was 2.5 weeks ago, I mean, she was up in the third set.
4-love, I believe.
Yeah, she was up in the third set. So, like, the truth is, I mean, she still has it in her to get out the first round. And that's after coming off her wedding. So, she ain't played enough tennis at all. I mean,
I feel like she actually got in pretty good shape because she wanted to look good in her little wedding pieces.
I mean, the body was, yes. But I mean, but being in shape and being tennis ready, though, we all know those are two different things, though.
It is, but
especially
I feel
at
like
the age of like 46, 7, whatever she is.
I don't know. I think she's like pushing 45 or maybe on the other side of it. I'm not sure. I don't want to say her age incorrectly, but she looks great. Yeah, she looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She's been killing it.
I'm glad to see her back. I think she can get out of the first round of a major this year. Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
It's going to be at Wimbledon.
I don't really have expectations on it anymore.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that she is healthy and doing what she likes to do and is iconic kind of.
Yes.
That part.
She's iconic before she walks onto the court and after she leaves. Yeah. Like you're watching Venus Williams, and if you know tennis, you absolutely know that name. So it just, you know,
Yeah.
she just takes you along for the ride in her own little way, you know?
Yeah.
I also feel like
agree.
it's just such a motivator for young athletes to see someone who's had seen their prime in their career, but also is carrying forward and still being able to hold true to, you know, the craft, the love of the sport, the energy, and just being able to get there at this age and stage of their life. It's just really motivating and exciting to see someone like that doing that. So regardless of how well or bad she performs, the fact that she's out there, and it gives them, not only the people that are playing, but it gives, you know, spectators something to look forward to.
I bet you those ticket sales went up though for that match. I mean, she's still gonna draw a crowd, so they happy she there.
That part.
Period. And she is 45 years old. She'll be 46 in June, so we don't want to overstate the age there.
There we go. Come on, research. Come on, Venus.
Hey, you know, quickly. Alexa, thank you. Do we give a damn about Serena's pending return after her Today Show appearance?
She needs to stop. She needs to stop playing. And now I'm not talking about she needs to stop playing tennis. She needs to just say what she mean and mean what she say. Okay? All this other innuendo bullshit. No, quit. Because I didn't already cried my tears over you, girl. Okay? I didn't cry my real tears over you. And now you out here saying there's a maybe? That you don't know? No, I'm gonna need you to figure out and then get on camera when you do know something.
I just had a thought, y'all. Because yes, I agree with you, Jarrell. Like, I am not ready to go through the drama and trauma of watching Serena Williams matches. Like, I'm not all the way ready to do that in singles.
Mm-hmm.
And follow me here. If you've noticed, there's been a little bit of a recent uptick in Venus playing doubles more often.
Yep.
Like last year's US Open, this Australian Open, the tournament before the Australian Open, a smaller event. I feel like that's not for nothing. Maybe she thinks something is coming and is getting herself ready for a Serena and Venus. I'm not gonna say comeback,
LA
but
28
reappearance in doubles. Yeah. Wait, LA 28 would be crazy.
That would be
taking a page out of the Beyonce. They're taking a page out of the Beyonce rollout, dropping little hints here and there.
They are friends.
Could you imagine?
Carry on.
Right. Could you imagine? Because you know Serena's about to have a Super Bowl commercial, so maybe the commercial with Roe is also an announcement. And that's why she's really playing coy, because she just has a whole rollout plan for that. That's what I'm thinking.
I can see the doubles. I would love the doubles.
I can see it. I would love to see that.
I would love to see it.
I don't even know why it didn't dawn on me that it could be like a whole rollout and she say something in the commercial that makes us go, oh, Serena's coming back to the tour. Oh my God, I might gag.
Baby.
I might gag.
Oh, break the whole tennis world. The whole tennis world would be fucking goop, gag.
You know what? I need to look at these Indian Well tickets ASAP.
Yeah. ASAP.
Yeah. ASAP. Yep. And I'm actually going to be in Palm Springs during it too, so I really need to. Yeah, I'm on it.
You need to go regardless. I hear that tournament's cute. So.
It's the Williams sisters' power, man. Even at 40-something, they are really both like being a draw in what they say, do, where they play, all of that stuff. They are still kind of making the tennis world turn on its head sometimes with just whatever they do, whatever they touch.
Every day. Yeah. But I agree with Jarrell. Like, I was at the U.S. Open that last match, and the energy that night was like insanity. So I can't go through all this shit again. My heart can't take it.
And honestly, I mean, this is the first time in a long time that I've been able to watch tennis without like being so invested. Because whenever Serena's on, I'm just like, I'm pressed. Every time Serena plays, I'm pressed, I'm stressed. And since she's retired, I could just watch and like someone lose. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't care. Like I don't have anyone that I'm like.
It's like, let me go to the store.
Rooting. I'm like Coco got me there a little bit. Naomi is probably the only one that I'm always rooting for Naomi. Like I want her to win everything. But watching Serena and rooting for Serena is a whole other level of stress. And I don't got it. I really don't got it, y'all.
I'm going to say something really stupid. I'm going to say something really stupid. But I would just love it, and I know it's not going to happen, but I would just love it if A, they came back as doubles. B, for their first opening match, they show up dressed in all white with their old school hairstyles with the white beads.
Oh, you want the beads?
That I want them to relive the old look and the old beads for their comeback. I think that would be just absolutely iconic. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm just putting that out there in the universe.
Do they still sell the
never.
beads? I ain't seen the beads since like 1997 in those stores.
It would low key. It would be cute. Low key. It would be cute.
I think the last
You know,
time
they got
I saw
edge control
Serena
and
wear
everything.
braids,
So
didn't Serena wear braids for the wedding, the royal wedding? Didn't she have braids in?
She had braids in, but it wasn't with the beads though.
Well, they'll
she
work
did have
something out.
braids, but
There's
yeah.
something going on.
With the little
They love
sass.
tennis too much.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love it.
I would live for it. Well, Jarrell, you hinted at it. Aunties, do you give a damn about all the Naomi come on controversy that came during the tournament? Then she just withdrew the next round.
My sister. My sweet
Well,
sister.
let's just recap for the people who don't know, because there's a lot of our listeners that might not listen to tennis and might not know what the come on controversy is. So
Myles, you want to do the breakdown for us?
Okay, so Naomi Osaka comes into this year's Australian Open seeded, I believe, in the top 15, meaning she has a good chance to at least get to the fourth round, where she would have met former world number one Iga Swiatek, if you ever heard that name. Very dominant player, wins a lot, right? Naomi got to the semifinals of the U.S. Open, so she's had a lot of success recently on hard courts. And in her second round match, which is kind of the second thing that week that goes viral for her, she has an incident with a tour veteran player. Her last name is Kirstea. And between Kirstea hitting her first serve and her second serve, Kirstea took issue with the fact that Naomi was like audibly hitting her thigh and gesturing to herself to get ready for the serve. And she audibly said, "Come on." The mics kind of picked it up, but I guess it was more audible than she maybe thought it was going to be. And her opponent talked to the umpire, made a little fuss about it. And then they played and continued on. And then when they got to the handshake after Naomi won, her opponent gave her a real ice cold drive-by eye roll kind of moment. And Naomi kind of felt off guard about that. So she was processing all of those feelings of like, wait, what just happened on the on-court interview? And it kind of created a discussion of, was she performing either like gamesmanship or poor sportsmanship by saying audible come-ons between a missed first serve and an attempt for the second serve. The small caveat is that in her preparing for the second serve, Naomi's gestures were nowhere stopping her or like in the middle of her motion. So that's where it gets a little like gray in the area, because it really wasn't a hindrance to the player. And that's what she was trying to argue, but also another caveat, she was losing in the match. Naomi was winning. So tennis, in tennis, especially if you've been on tour for a while, you can figure out where you want to interject an argument with an official to kind of maybe sway momentum. And I feel like that's more likely what she was doing, instead of Naomi trying to throw her off intentionally. That's what I got from it as watching both of them for a long time. That's not the first time Naomi's done that particular thing. Maybe she was a little bit louder than she thought she was, but if you've watched tennis, you've heard her like tap her thigh and yell, "Come on," in between first and second serves, you know? But yeah, it was just a very catty moment that went viral because of Naomi trying to process it in real time. And I think that was her first real issue with the girl on tour, with a handshake issue, which can be kind of jarring if you never had it before, you know? So yeah. That's what happened.
But I mean, but the way Kirstea turned around though after Naomi was like, "What's going on?" and she turned around, she gave her a little attitude and stuff like that. I was like,
it was nasty.
Okay, it was nasty. I was like, you didn't need to do all that. Like, you could be frustrated, but like, you didn't got to be nasty like that towards her. And that's why I was just like, I get, because with tennis there are certain like I feel like old school etiquette things like that just like are outdated. It's kind of like the whole coaching thing that has changed, over the years, and now players being able to interact with their coaches and stuff like that. Like in every other sport, like this stuff happens all the time, like the back and forth and da. And so it's one of those things where like I feel like I don't say the old heads, but the old heads really are like, Naomi shouldn't been doing this, and everyone else is just like, girl, she went in as a sport, like calm the fuck down, So like it ain't that serious. I'm just mad that I'm just mad
She's
that
winning on top of that.
she withdrew. But
Yeah.
To be fair though, she looked a little off. I mean, she was already doing 3-setters right at the gate, so she ain't gonna last that long.
I think that's also the thing that got lost in the match, was that in that little kerfuffle they had before that, Naomi actually called for the trainer for the issue that ultimately made her withdraw, which is a reoccurring ab injury. She didn't say it necessarily black and white. She said basically, if you've looked at my medical history, in her words, and you probably know what it is, and she's withdrawn from a couple tournaments with abdominal issues which affect her serve and all kind of things on the tennis court. So that got lost in that, which we really should have been kind of like hoping one of the best tennis players of the past 10 years gets better, instead of like ripping her apart for her trying to self-motivate and be positive, and then also for her choice of fashion. It was just a lot of tearing her down for very minuscule, not very broad or major out there actions. I don't know what the reason is for that with Naomi, because it kind of keeps happening.
I don't get it either.
She doesn't do loud gestures, but they kind of resonate very largely.
Yeah,
and she's a very soft-spoken person. Like that's the weird thing to me. Like she's maybe a little more shy by nature.
She's a meek person,
And so for players to think that she's trying to utilize those, she don't need to utilize those type of tactics. Like her game is strong enough to beat your ass nonetheless. So that's the piece. So it's just old girl was mad because she's retiring this year. So it's her last Australian Open. And she wanted to win. She didn't win. So girl, get over yourself. You'll be all right. Because guess what? Someone else is going to say, come on now. And then I guarantee you someone's going to probably yell it in the crowd now because they know it gets underneath your skin. So now you just really fucked up the rest of your last year. How about that?
Yeah. We'll see you in a Starbucks when you make my coffee.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Next.
Real. Auntie.
That'll do it.
Do you give that will do it. Ain't got to worry about me. Aunties, do you give a damn about the new black commentating crew that ESPN has now? And it was Malika Andrews, Chris Eubanks. James Blake has been around. Obviously, he was a professional tennis player and retired, and now he's been commentating for the last, it's probably been a decade at this point. But it was dope to see that crew out there together. I'm like, okay, Black History Month.
I loved it. Honestly, I really did.
So good.
I really did. And even just like the moments when Coco was being interviewed by Eubanks as well, and she was just like, I can't take you seriously. Like, he's like, we've been through this before. Like, I'm at work. Like, chill, friend.
I know he's trying to be professional.
That's the one thing I love about us, though. Like when you ride hard with someone, and those moments are uncontainable. Like you could be professional if you want to, but like when you fuck with somebody, like it's always there. It's always there, and I absolutely.
It's a connection.
Lived.
It's dope. Yeah.
Just that we see each other, especially in a space like that, where it's still a predominantly white space, to just see people that you like, okay, I fucks with you, you fucks with me, I see you, you see me. There's just an unspoken just love there. And it's cool to see. And it honestly, like at first, I was just like, okay, like obviously it was been due time to kind of probably shake up a lot of the commentating space, quite frankly.
Come on now.
And I was interested just to see how Chris was going to do. Like, obviously, he's kind of sprinkled here and there over the last few years, but was still playing. But there would be his prime attention now. I think he did a good job. I think he did a very good job. And he's knowledgeable. He's well-versed because he was just playing, so he knows how these players are playing. He knows the tactics that they're doing and the mentality that you're going into these matches with. So to sprinkle that in, I thoroughly enjoyed it, quite frankly. And Malika, this is not her like main sport. Like we know Malika from like basketball and shit and the other sports. To see her sprinkle in, I thought she came in and knocked it out the fucking park.
That's what I was gonna say. They both knocked it out the park. They really did. I mean, I'm biased, but who cares? Everybody has their biases. Whatever. It's Black History Month. I can say it out loud. Rooting for everybody
I know
that
that's
is
right.
that is black.
Mhm.
Some asterisks,
Facts.
but it's okay. We're gonna leave those alone.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was impressed by ESPN in certain fashions, and I'll just stick with the positive of how I was impressed with ESPN. Chris Eubanks and Malika Andrews really stepped it up a notch. To see them both like interact in real time on the internet as well, both of them were very active
Yeah.
on Threads. I don't know if they got the directive that there's a black tennis community growing on the Threads app, but
It's
they
the best
tapped into
thing.
it.
They did.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And like you said, Chris has just been off of the tour, not even a full year, and he may even come back and sprinkle some into it. You never know. But he's right up on the knowledge of what's going on. And Malika has that really great presence. Even though she's not doing play-by-play, she's moderating the studio space. And that takes a certain kind of energy. And it is transferable from sport to sport if you have a grasp on what's happening. You got to be a little lenient. I mean, I don't know what her full tennis background is, so there may have been some instances where she got some last names wrong. But hell, I was watching juniors the other day and I was like, how do I say that? It happens to the most seasoned people, you know? So yeah.
And
all
they
that to
still
say
can't
is
say
that
Anna Samova, right? They say it different every damn time I see them commentate, so it is what it is.
McEnroe says Zverev, and that's not that boy's name. Like, I'm not taking up for him, but that's not that sir's name. Oh, yes, man.
Oh, man. So yeah, so more of it. That I will say, and maybe I'll give a little con to ESPN. Like they just don't show all the damn matches. Like you got to
They want
pay
more money.
$39.99 to see like the number one player in the world play, and it's like, well, damn, I'm already paying. Literally the reason why I still had like the YouTube TV was for ESPN to see these damn matches, and you telling me I can't see the matches I want to see? Now I gotta dish out some more money? No,
like you building a
ESPN, that
paywall
ain't
on top
cute.
of a paywall. What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, I was big mad, like because I had bought ESPN for college volleyball, and because college volleyball was on ESPN1, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just tournament, I'm gonna get it, cool. And then I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna keep it because Australian Open, just like it's just 3 weeks later, you know, might as well. Extra. What you mean extra? I said, then what the fuck? What I've been paying?
You need an extra login?
What have I been paying? No, there was like an extra package. I was so confused. I was like, no. But I have this fucking Disney bundle. Like literally paying for all 3 of these. What you mean? Nah, y'all tripping. Yeah. I ain't care for that either. But they got my money. And I watched.
They got it out of it. Ain't that something? Capitalism wins again.
And yeah.
Capitalism wins. Ain't that something?
He said, my bank account lighter. My bank account lighter. It is what it is. That is too funny.
Oh, that's right.
All right. Well, what are we thinking about? Let's see here. We'll start here. We'll say Rybakina. How are we feeling about Rybakina beating Sabalenka for the title?
Whoa, wait. Before we got there, what about the Coco situation? We're not even going to talk about Coco.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to speed it up, y'all.
Yeah,
okay.
Because we got to talk. It's Black History Month, so we talk about all the niggas first.
I was just about to say, Terrell. Let's put a little black up in the tea.
Well, Auntie, do you give a damn about Coco? Go ahead. Sound like we do.
Do y'all want like my tennis head opinions, or do you want my regular smegular opinions?
Well, no, we want the tennis head.
Give
with
you
the
a black opinion.
I want the black opinion.
Right, give your
My
black
black
opinion.
opinion. My black opinion. Okay, if I was in Coco Gauff's like immediate team doing something and had access to talk to her all the time, I would make sure that one, she keeps doing what she's doing, because Mama hasn't really left the top 10 in a long time. Regardless of what they say, she's still a top 10 player for like the last 3 years, right? So it's not that you are not a darn good tennis player. It's just that she is in a state of like maturing as a young person, doing a very specific and hard kind of job while also having to develop a little bit more than her peers, if that makes any sense. Like if you watch her game and stack it up next to other women's tennis players, their production of their athleticism is a little bit more clean. Meaning, like when you watch them, whether you are a tennis savant or not, I think most people can be like, wait, there's a certain swing to how you're supposed to do this, if that makes any sense. And Coco does it her own way, because there's definitely more ways to swing at a tennis ball and conduct your forehand and backhand. It's just that she's figuring it out. And to say she's figuring it out in real time with the world watching, she's still a 2-time Grand Slam champion, has one of the best competitive spirits most of the time on the court. And speaking of competitive spirit, the match she lost, unfortunately, in the quarterfinals, which, mind you, is the exact same place she got to last year. So she didn't lose any ranking points. Like, she lost to a player that's like maybe 6 spots below her in the rankings. You know, it wasn't an upset by any means. She just didn't have it that day by a long shot. And sometimes, and I was having this conversation with some of my community on X Spaces, formerly known as Twitter. Sometimes you just got to let it out. And sometimes stifling it kind of pours into other things in your game. And I feel like in the moment of her like smashing her racket after the loss, she was trying to get that out in a healthy manner instead of like doing it on court. And I think in time she'll figure out a way to manage both of those, because listen, if I want to be the best and I'm out here working and I'm stressful or I'm stressed, I want to have the authority and the liberty and the freedom to crack racket just like the other 2,000 people that have come before me, right? It is not a new thing to see somebody crack rackets. It's been happening since they basically created them, right? So I didn't like some of the pushback on that, but people aren't going to feel how they feel regardless. But it just kind of, the narrative of Coco is that she's literally developing and growing in front of our eyes. And that's going to come with a whole bunch of stuff, you know? Her processing and learning what works for her in a whole different way, you know?
Years old.
Not even 22.
Yeah, 21.
21.
Yeah. Like, I mean, girl, we were doing I was uncontrollable.
Baby.
What you mean? Like, I'll be hitting somebody with that racket if it was me. I mean, I'm just saying. I totally. This is just me as an athlete and understanding sports. No one likes losing. When you spend hours and hours training, you're not training to lose. You are training to win. And there comes a point when you want something so bad and then you fall short and you're like, damn, so what the fuck I was doing all that for? Like, you start questioning things. And that anger sometimes seeps from that little moment of doubt, like, what the, I can't believe. And any person who has ever lost and actually give a damn and actually was good at a sport has yelled at least one time for fucking up. That's just a normal thing. Yeah. And it really is. It really is.
And disappointment because you know you could do better. You're like, fuck, like, what the fuck was I doing today?
Like, we getting mad at her believing in herself so much. And people are getting mad at her for not keeping together like some other ones. Like, the other people are losers. They're used to that shit. So of course, for them, it's no big deal.
Say their names.
So I mean, it makes sense. They seen it from a completely different vantage point because they could never, you know. So I mean, when your dreams are that small, you can never imagine yourself in that spot. But whatever.
Dream girls. Oh, I should stream that again. Sorry.
The drive-by is 0. Devon, any thoughts there, boo?
I know that's right. Y'all got it.
So Coco, keep fucking some rackets up. Yeah. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's my commentary. Fuck some rackets up until you get it right, boo.
And also shout out to Serena being like, and I am known for smashing some rackets. When they asked Serena about it too, and Serena was like, y'all tripping. Like, because y'all ain't seen me. And she literally said, cue the footage. And that's exactly what they did too. They said,
right, roll it. It happens.
Like, yes. Yeah.
Athletes
and I'm like, here's
out. Yeah.
And we have a white commentator dude who's made a whole career about flipping out and having tantrums.
Good.
And we celebrate him for the last 50 fucking years.
I wouldn't say we because I don't speak French.
It is what it is.
But...
Yeah, you clocked that. You definitely clocked that, didn't you? I know that's right.
So Rybakina, aunties, do you give a damn? Rybakina ended up winning. Did
Yes,
we see
we
that
do.
coming?
Yes, we do.
Did we like that? No.
I did. Here's the thing. I like watching Sabalenka play, but I like watching her lose more than I like watching her win. And that's just petty in me because her facial expressions just cracks me up. When we talking about like
It's
not
the
being good at
facials.
losing, there's just a little joy in me that be like, ooh, that is eating that bitch
Yeah.
up. Just eat her up. And that's wrong. And I don't got nothing against her. I actually like her. But I don't know why. That's again, I'm Auntie Henny, so that makes sense. So, yeah.
No, I agree with
Would
you. There is nothing like, even as a spectator, watching somebody who you know is going to get upset on court. There's just something very entertaining about that. And I can imagine anybody that's playing against her, that's very motivating to keep doing what you're doing to get them kind of reactions, because those reactions are distractions from the game. And, you know, she's good for that.
Okay, but how did Myles feel? How did you feel? Because I feel like Myles
It's fine. It's fine.
beautiful gowns.
Beautiful gowns.
Yeah,
gowns.
literally.
It's a genuine. It's not even a shady.
Beautiful rackets.
It's not even a shady. It's fine. It's a very genuine. This is okay. Like I can. What we talking about earlier? And I said if she likes it, I love it.
Yeah.
Very much so in this
There you
situation.
go.
Yeah. She won. That's awesome. She provides great tennis. She actually, if there's one thing that I'm gonna give her a very firm 10s across the board for, in that tournament, her serve was
Bitch.
big.
Yeah.
And on it. So if you are a person that likes to see big serves and just happens to be from a woman, like the production of it and the sound off of her racket, 10s.
Yeah.
Even
And
the
when
kick
she
on her
puts it,
second serve.
yeah.
The kick on her second serve,
Especially
too.
coming from like a few years ago when she was like the serving yips that she famously had were probably some of the worst of all time. So to see how far she's come and how good that serve is, now you're
Rybakina
like, oh,
or
shit, like, you put
Sabalenka?
some-
Did I lose us?
Oh, are you talking about Rybakina's serve?
Yeah, we're talking about
okay.
Rybakina's serve.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sabalenka doesn't have a bad
Rybakina's
serve.
service.
Sabalenka
Yeah,
doesn't have a bad serve.
I thought you were talking about Sabalenka's to give her a test. Yeah, Rybakina's serve. Oh God, it's disgusting. Like
Nasty.
Like I
In a
just
good
love
way.
how stoic she is. Like she's just like she's not too high, she's not too low. You don't know if she's up by like 2 sets. You don't know nothing. Like every once in a while you might get like a little.
I
She
know.
might do a quick little smile.
It's a little crazy
and then
eyes
sit her
though
ass
to
down.
me though. She give a little crazy eyes, like
Crazy.
Oh,
eyes.
because I'm like, girl, do you want to be here? Do you know where you are? Blink if you need help. Like, because how you win in a Grand Slam and to Myles Park, all she did was
Is anybody
this.
Is anybody an X-Men film fan? Because I just had an
Absolutely.
analogy pop into my head.
Yep.
Remember in X2, the I think they call her Lady Deathstrike, and she
Yes.
was like controlled with that little drip at the back of her neck.
I'm
Yes.
done.
Sometimes Rybakina operates that way. Like it is a killer machine, but sometimes she need a little rewiring or like a couple.
Just straight face.
I cannot see
look,
it now.
just- I mean,
Yeah.
where's the lie?
Is that-
Where is the lie?
She's deadly when she's playing well. Just sometimes she gets.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. You know how that like Lady Deathstrike in that movie didn't really have a personality outside of just following orders. That's kind of how she is too. Like she's like, go girl, give us nothing, but go girl, give us everything at the same time. I don't know.
You know who she's maybe not like personality wise or anything like that, but she's kind of almost like Petra Kvitova. Like you never want to play her because you know if her game is on, like she gonna fuck you up. But then like if it's off, you're just like, okay, I ain't got shit to worry about, kind of thing.
But Petra,
like,
she was still animated though. She will give
but that's
you
what
a
I'm saying,
come
like
on.
not like personality at all, but game wise. Like
Yeah.
you like if you saw her in your side of the draw, you'd be like, damn, if she on, I gotta be on today.
That was one person
That's
I hated.
what
I
Rybakina
hated
is
watching
to me.
Serena play her. Like, God damn it.
Both of them.
Yeah.
It was always Kerber for me.
Oh.
Kerber and Anna. Those are two bitches that to this day. That's why I don't like Eagle.
I don't like
'Cause
lefties.
they-
I
Eagle
don't like
give me that same
every time I
energy.
notice a lefty, it's because I'm like, damn, it was always a lefty that would always give Serena some trouble.
I'm
'cause
You know who
partial.
it wasn't?
too.
Maria.
Yeah.
I'm partial to lefties because I am left-handed myself. But yeah, they gave the Williams sisters some trouble on. Yeah, both a lot of lefties actually.
Yeah.
Literally. But congrats to Rybakina. You know, won it in 3 sets, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. So we'll see how the rest of the year. I mean, she's going to be a threat at Wimbledon, so we know that. So we'll see how the rest of the year.
We get to the French Open first, girl. You skipping hopscotch over here.
But Rybakina's not going to be at the French. Rybakina too slow to be at the French Open. She
made it to the quarterfinals one year.
She ain't going to win it.
Oh.
I'm trying to make her happen in my mind. Imagine if she was like
right.
Imagine if she was like a stoic, imagine her on the set of Mean Girls, but she was like the stoic beauty. Or if you're like looking to tie it together to what's happening currently, you know how America's Next Top Model is coming out with that documentary? I feel like Tyra Banks would love her as far as editorial shoots and stuff. If you're looking for a girl to give you high fashion Eastern European Vogue, very icy, that's Elena Rybakina. So that's some people's Steve. That's some people's Steve.
I see it.
That's
I honestly, you connect them dots. I see it. Yeah.
This is why I come on the show.
And then, Aunties, do you give a damn on the men's side? And before we even get to the championship match, do we give a damn that Novak has now reached 100+ wins in 3 majors and got to his 38th final of Grand Slam? Even as much as I don't like this man, like the numbers don't lie. I'm like, damn. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna look like Stevie Wonder with these numbers right now.
So we don't give a damn.
I think
it's fine.
I don't really particularly give a damn about it. I just think that it's, again, when people see other people achieving success in whatever that is defined and breaking barriers, it gives them that much more motivation to do that. They can do that and more. So I'm excited to see what comes after this. You know, who's going to be the folks that are going to have, who are going to see this as a longevity that they want to beat, and they're that much more motivated to do that.
That's a really good perspective.
That's a good PC answer.
But that's a really good perspective too, because I've been thinking, are we putting too much emphasis on like trying to find tennis players to rack up numbers like that? Or are we trying to find tennis players that just make tennis watching fun and of course are successful at the same time, you know? When you get to that like rare air that Djokovic is in, and like large scale umbrella really pulling back, he is one of the best tennis players to ever pick up a racket. But unfortunately, in a lot of people's dialogue and community, he doesn't really come up as somebody that you have like an emotional tie with. That's not saying anybody, that's not saying like nobody feels that way, because some people do. Some people really are like, he's the best tennis player I've ever seen in my life, which is completely fair because we all have somebody that we like feel that way about. It's just that I feel strongly.
Unless you're Baltic. Because they feel really strongly about some.
Yeah, they love their Serbian king. I just feel like when the spaces I'm in, he comes like 3rd or 4th in terms of like popularity. And I feel like that kind of weighs and grooves into how he operates in tennis these days.
It does.
Even his like snarky responses in press conferences are like, you gonna recognize me. You don't forget that I won X, Y, and Z. He just doesn't come across as the most relatable guy, but sometimes you don't have to be in sports to be the best to ever do it, you know?
No.
He's absolutely accomplished everything you basically can in the sport, times 2 or 3, you know? So yeah, just another stat in his history book.
Yeah, along with runner-up.
I think he completed his own kind of like not weird history, but I think that was he's now completed the runner-up slam at majors. He had never had a runner-up plate at Australia. So now he finally has one.
Yeah.
Good for him. We can celebrate that.
Well, let's also celebrate that we give a damn if that Carlito Alcaraz is. I mean, he was already in rarefied air. It's crazy what he's doing, but do we give a damn about this Australian Open win that completes the career Grand Slam at 22 fucking years old?
Because when they showed the stats about how like the big 3 had like, I think Rafa had 4 by the time he was 22, and Novak and Roger only had 1. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's crazy.
crazy how much he has gotten at the age of 22 as far as Grand Slam titles, and now to complete the Grand Slam like title, like that's just crazy. Like,
And I hope people realize like how quick, because like before, like even like the big three, because like Carlos has 7 now. And so forever it was like McEnroe has 7, like Mats Wilander has 8, like Agassi got 8, you know, like, and those we were like, damn, these were like icon, or not even are icons, legends of the sport. And then you get the big three that just kind of just fucking fucked up our perspective of what the sport should be. And then we have Serena on the other side too. So like the last 20 years just fucked up our perspective of what is reality.
Yeah.
But then now we have this next generation, and at 22 has 7. Even if he doesn't win another fucking slam in his life, he's already in rarefied air. And I hope people just like don't take this for granted what we're seeing again in this generation, because this is insanity. Insanity.
If you look at like the timeline, it's been an insane 4 years for him. I feel like I first started laying eyes on Carlos Alcaraz for sure at the Miami Open in 2022. There were some moments before that, for sure, if you go and dig, that showed he was going to have a high level. But from basically March of 2022 to January of 2026, he's been winning at an insane clip. Like almost everything that he's played, he's won except a few things. He's even runner-up at the Olympics with a silver medal. And to now add this into the resume, the repertoire, like the trophy case, it's all looking shiny and great for him, for real. And I think he's a great personality in addition to the sport. I don't know if y'all saw the pictures, but he was in some Jordan 11s, the Gammas, which happened to be like, I used to be a really big Jordan. I'm rocking my Jordan hat. Look at that. See,
I was going to say, still
come
is.
on, Carlos. Come on, Carlos. I used to work at a Foot Locker, funny enough. That's how I got into it. But the 11s happen to be my favorite aesthetic, low-key, of the Jordans, and that Gamma is a color I wish I always had, and he rocked the hell out of them. I was like, what is this boy from Spain?
What does boy know about Gammas?
What do you know about some Alaba Gammas? What is going on? But he did it, and it got the attention of like the shoe kicks of the world, like the people that are really diehard, like collecting all of that stuff. He rocked it well and ended up with the title and wore some other Nike cool, dope developed shoes. He got swag and appeal and fun energy to his game and his personality.
Yes.
So I just wish
he enjoys himself.
Yeah, I just wish him health, and like the amount of success he wants just kind of comes to him in whatever the process is, you know? Because there's going to be ups and downs. There are in a career. I just hope that however it flows for him, he keeps leaving his mark on tennis, because it'll be fun to watch.
I agree. And what Duan mentioned earlier about like Novak and inspiring, you know, like others and stuff like that, I feel like Carlos has been like this breath of fresh air on the men's side, because like the boy shows up and he balls out. But then like you also get to see like this playful side outside when, you know, he's doing interviews and stuff like that. And you can tell him like, he's still a kid. Like,
right.
Like he's 22 years old. Like, and so it's just crazy to then you're like, damn, 22 years old and he's playing like that and he has that shit together, and then clocks out and is like, all right, what's good? You know? And I'm like,
goes on vacation.
I really enjoy it. With some of them fine friends, because I saw some of the photos in the water.
Listen, I was like,
listen, baby,
I'll be the daddy.
That's another thing. That's another thing about Carlos that, like, I don't know if I feel uncomfortable talking about, but the tennis, the appropriate tennis media is not going to phrase this the way I'm going to phrase it. The camera loves him, and like the media don't mind flooding him out at all. Anytime he takes his shirt off, they're there with a high definition camera. Listen, if he likes it, I love it. He likes it, I love it. They slutting him out.
That is serious. Come on, Kim Petras.
That may be the clip of the week.
Baby. And we eating it up. Like, hey.
Nom.
Like it was funny. Like the comment, like I think it was Chris Fowler was saying, he's like, even when he was down against Zverev. Now you got me saying it like McEnroe. Like, hold on. the semifinal round, he said like the difference between Carlos and how great he is compared to like maybe like Novak and just even temperament is, he said he was down in that final set like what was like 5-4 or something like that, and he was talking to them in the bunker just like, hey, I'm trying out here, like still enjoying himself, like cracking jokes and stuff, and they were like, oh my god, like this dude is like losing right now, but like he's still cracking jokes, and then went down to shutdown mode and ended up winning the match, and it's just like he's such just a different aesthetic and temperament than that we've had the last 20-25 years, and it's refreshing to see someone just enjoy what they are doing. It's just like, hey, it's a sport, it's a game. At the end of the day, I'm making millions of dollars and being good at it, literally, but let's have some fun in this shit, because life is too short to be out here just stressed and pressed all the damn time. And I think that's maybe what kind of like butted heads with him and maybe like Juan Carlos. Like that's why eventually maybe they were just like, we just have two different perspectives of what I want my career to look like and feel like. And I'm old enough now, and obviously maybe had some family dynamics in it too that like played in it. But it was cool for him to see his win, and he kind of hinted at it in his speech, just like, you know, people were. He's like, I heard y'all, Miles. Y'all was talking shit, and guess what, bitch? I won.
Wanted to quiet that little noise. Really wanted to quiet it up,
baby.
And it's crazy
to really wanted
to also do it, you know, after getting a new coach, and then to get the Grand Slam title that you hadn't had yet too. It's like
exactly.
So who gonna check me, boo?
Right.
Oh, Sheree.
So before we end this, you know, Australia Open was a good tournament, especially that towards the end. There was a lot of matches that were kind of like not that fun to watch, quite frankly. But the semifinals and finals kind of wrapped it up nicely. But Miles, who ain't got that dog in him though? Who ain't got that dog in him in this tournament?
Carlos has the dog in him. Carlos definitely showcased some dog, but some of his ATP counterparts, some of them showed some cracks. I don't know what was going on when they were doing the breeding for their litter. I don't know. But their bark, they got some bark, but maybe no bite yet. They're working on the bite.
Okay. They're working on the bite.
Would you believe that I think this was Felix Auger-Aliassime's highest seeding at a major in like 3 or so years?
I would believe it.
Yes.
Because my nigga been struggling.
His last couple of months, U.S. Open to now, has been very successful. He's been looking, for the most part, healthy, winning at a good clip. If you are like entering the Super Bowl, which is basically what the Australian is, one quarter of what the Super Bowl in tennis, right? And you started getting cramps, and I'm trying not to be hard on him, but I'm also just being honest, right? If you
be hard on him, because I was thinking the same damn thing.
Because I've met him, and he seemed to have like a very wonderful spirit. It wasn't a long, you know, it was a brother to brother, dap up, I see you, I respect you, kind of move along conversation, you know? But also and still, I feel like the way he tends to maneuver in the sport is a little questionable sometimes, as if like he really wants to push it and really get as much as he can out of what seems to be a lot in the toolbox. He's super athletic and everybody sees it. Like, they see a lot that can come from his game, but to be at a point where he was in the first round and experience cramps, and then we also see how Carlos Alcaraz experienced cramps and what he did to push his body to get the best result in that match. Like, I mean, he said he probably never even thought about retiring. Felix looked like he gave it a thought and just went with it. He was just like, oh, I'm not doing the whole pickle juice and like straining thing. I'm just not doing that. And that's a little concerning to me, because I feel like that's sometimes where dogs are born. Regardless of if you win or lose, like, if there's no other time to really push it, I'm not saying go out there and break a bone and like leave yourself with like bloody shins. I'm not saying do all of that. I'm just saying we've seen people come back from cramps in tennis before, and in all sports. It sucks, but in modern technology, there's things you can do to kind of work your way through it if you give it time. And I don't think he gave himself enough time to really build on momentum in this tournament. So yes, his ranking is still pretty good, but it just kind of opened up a layer to his game that makes me question more what's going on, you know, because we already look at him as like a indoor specialist, which is great, but the biggest tournaments don't be indoors. They just don't, you know. So we'll see. Still, he don't have a dog in him. No dog. Who else don't have a dog in him? Who am I picking out of the litter?
Musetti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really beautiful gowns. I feel like that word is kind of made, and that phrase is made for him, because when you watch him play tennis, you almost kind of are thrown back to a different era. Like, he just does it in a very stylistic way, and I really appreciate that. And it can be effective, mostly on clay courts, but it can be effective on a multitude of surfaces, right? It's just that when he gets in position, sometimes it feels like his body betrays him, or he's like a little fragile, and I'm not sure how much of that is linked to like physicality. Get him some protein. Protein seems popular these days.
You need that soul food we was talking about.
Something.
Right.
Something.
Baby, you need
Some
to
black eyed
eat.
peas.
He needs some milk.
Some calcium on the bones. Yeah, he just doesn't. There's been a couple of situations in his career, especially over Novak, which he ultimately retired in his quarterfinal match, leading in that match, and got a strain, it seems, or some kind of like high thigh injury, and he pulled the plug on it maybe 10 minutes after kind of pulling up a little weird on his leg. So that could have been one of the biggest wins of his career, and probably would have been, but I really do wonder how much of his physical issues, because that's the second big tournament that he's retired from. If you go back to the French Open last year, he retired in the semis there.
Yep.
And now he's retiring at the semis in Australia. You know, one time lightning strikes, twice is like, what's going on? So I just wish he could figure that out. Yeah, I wish he could figure that out.
I mean, I will say this. The only thing that I liked about him retiring was the fact that we got a Novak and Sinner semifinal, and we didn't end up getting a Sinner and Carlos because of Novak. So that's my roundabout way of saying something nice about Novak to get us to Carlos and not having a boring championship.
Wait, you thought it would have been boring? You thought it would have been boring?
I am tired of seeing
Yannick
and Carlos in the same, and I'm tired of seeing those two.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm
enjoying it.
And the only reason why I say that is just because I just want someone else to have that dog in them to like step up and be like, you know, because we even said this on the podcast a couple weeks ago. I just feel like Carlos and Yannick are so far from everybody else that like I'm low key rooting for the underdog, but only when the underdog is Sinner, like not Sinner, but whenever they're playing Sinner, like whenever it's Carlos, I want Carlos to win, but I just want an underdog at this point to like get into a final. Like I would just like to see some new blood in a final for once. So
they need to step their
Nothing wrong with that.
right,
up.
exactly. But that's why I'm rooting the way I do, because I just, I mean, the last U.S. Open, basically last 2 years, it's just been those two. So
yeah,
you know,
they won the
and
last
a little
9
bit of Shelton
major titles.
Maybe
no,
they have a stranglehold on it.
He's in the cusp, but
no, he needs to.
If I could.
His front,
ahead,
his forehand. He needs to get his forehand together, because that's still way too light. It's not enough power on it. Like,
ooh, not
his
light.
backhand. He needs.
Ooh,
compared to some of the other some of the other boys. I actually no, it is. You're right. I'm sorry. It is his backhand. You're right, Pharrell. It is his backhand. It is his backhand. Yeah, it is his backhand.
I feel like he would take offense to that. But you know, you have a point.
Yeah, he would. You know, and that's why I backpedal. I backpedal, and I said it was right. I said Pharrell was right.
That was a soft correction.
Look,
Appreciate
I got
that,
it
Myles.
together. Look, I got it
Man,
together.
gonna show up to his crib right quick.
My B,
Nigga,
I said the wrong one.
I'll show you
It's
light.
the backhand. It's the backhand, but it's too slow. Like, I mean, right now, like everyone above him is going to eat that backhand up. It's not strong enough.
I think there are still parts of his game that he's working on, but we're in the segment of talking about who doesn't have dog in him. Shelton does. I'd take somebody, like if we're doing stocks and bonds and holding on a tennis player, I would hold on to the idea that Ben Shelton's biggest moments are still ahead of him because he has more developing to do. He's still not even 23 years old. I think he had, all things considered, a pretty late jump on tennis being the exclusive sport. So he's still doing big things. And he also lost in the quarterfinals, which if you're going to lose at a slam, sometimes you got to take some on the chin. Serena has actually quite a lot of quarterfinal losses in majors. You know, it happens.
Oh, don't remind me. There were so many years of traumaticness from the quarterfinals with her. Oh.
See, and you want this back, Jarrell? You want this back? See, no.
Oh, God.
Look, I don't.
Stress.
I'm still one of those people who be on
years and Anna years. Oh,
I'm still on YouTube watching like 3 of them matches still. Like,
they pop up on my YouTube recommendations all the
time. Serena Williams fans.
Yep. I always watch them. Yep. Every time. Oh, when she was down, in the first set, and she had to come back, and I watch them all. Yeah,
I love that.
It always comes that Maria, that Australian Open where she got the big green and blue hoops. That comes up probably once a month in my recommendation, like some different variation of it, and I sit there and watch it every time.
It's so black. It's so black. I love it.
It's so black. It's so black.
I love it. When she was walking down the hallway with her purse, black.
That. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, Myles, quickly, 2026 predictions. French Open, go.
Oh no, I'm on the hot spot. In the hot seat. French Open predictions. Women's Iga Swiatek. Men's Carlos Alcaraz. I'll call it safe, but I would love to see some variation.
Wimbledon.
Yannick Sinner. I think he gets it on grass. And then on the women's side, Lord have mercy.
That is wide open.
I'm going to go Sabalenka. She's been knocking on the door. U.S. Open.
Okay.
Men's. For the hell of it, let's go Shelton. U.S. Open, Shelton.
Okay.
Women's, let's go. Let's go Coco. Just to put a name out there before I go too deep in my head. Let's go Coco.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it shakes out here. But we appreciate you always coming in, giving us your tennis knowledge. For those that's listening to the podcast, we got a little more to give you here. But right now we're going to take a quick little tea break, and we'll be right back.